Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Her Power podcast, a space created to empower, educate, and elevate women in every role and season of life. I am Sydney Ward, Miss Fall Fest Volunteer 2026, and I am also the founder of the Rise and Reclaim Project, an initiative dedicated to helping young women build confidence, understand their worth, and recognize the power they already carry within. Each episode, we're going to be sitting down with a variety of female leaders, athletes, title holders, and changemakers in our community to have real conversations about self worth, confidence, empowerment, and what that truly looks like in each of their unique roles. Because here, we believe that when women rise, they don't just grow, they reclaim who they were always meant to be. So let's go ahead and get into this week's episode and meet our very first guest. Okay, everybody, let's get into today's episode. So I'm very excited about our very first guest. I'm honored to have her on. She is a native from Benida, Tennessee, and she's an alum from the University of Tennessee at Martin, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing. She is currently enrolled at Arnold's Beauty School in hopes of one day combining her marketing degree and her passion to become a successful business owner. As the governor's official spokesperson for character education, she will travel the state of Tennessee speaking to thousands of school children, spreading the message of her character trait, respect. She promotes the importance of truly cherishing each moment through her platform, The Gift of Time, and in June she will be Tennessee's representative for the Miss Volunteer America pageant. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Tennessee Volunteer 2026, Meghan Poore.
Hello, thanks for having me, Sydney.
Of course, thank you so much for coming on. We're really excited to have you as our first guest, and I think you're the perfect person to talk to first. So, for those of you who may not know, Meghan and I have competed together for the last 2 years at Miss Tennessee Volunteer, so we know each other pretty well. But for those of you who may not know who Meghan is yet, do you mind telling us a little bit about who you are and who Meghan is beyond the crown and the title as well?
Yes, so I am from Medina, Tennessee, like Sydney said, just in the backyard of Jackson, Tennessee. I'm a graduate from the University of Tennessee at Martin with a marketing degree, like she mentioned, all in my bio. A huge passion of mine, cosmetology. That was my biggest dream I ever wanted to achieve, as well as my pageant title. So I'm currently on a leave from cosmetology school at Arnold's Beauty School. So after I pass the crown down, I'm going to go back and complete my license and hopefully start my own career. And I'm just beyond excited for that and can't wait to see what the future holds.
It's exciting. I'm excited to see where you could go with all your hair and makeup.
Thanks.
So you've been involved in pageantry for most of your life, correct?
Pretty much. Yeah.
When did you start doing pageants?
So I started competing in pageantry whenever I was just 6 years old. My mom enrolled my twin sister, and I have a twin, in pageantry because we were very, very shy little girls. It was actually to the point where we would actually hide behind her leg and start crying when someone would come talk to us, which obviously isn't really normal and kind of concerning. And a lot of her friends said you should enroll them in pageantry because they're going to gain a lot of self confidence and just see where the wind blows them. So I started competing in pageantry whenever I was in 6 years old, and then I got, the more involved and the more passionate I became over it through poetry, and it has shaped me into the person I am today, and I just can't be more grateful for that.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I was like, I never thought I'd get into pageantry, and now that I have, it's like the things it's taught me is amazing.
Yes.
So, speaking of self confidence, as you mentioned, how do you think that pageantry has shaped your confidence over time, growing up, especially as a young woman?
Yeah, so the older I got in pageantry, the more confidence I got. And what a lot of people don't see is behind the scenes work that a lot of pageant girls have to put in. And so when they see us on stage, they see all of our hard work and our confidence on the stage. But really, where that confidence comes in is from the prep that we have all throughout the year of having our local title or just throughout our years competing in pageantry. For me personally, I gain confidence every school visit that I go to and talk to children. And I'm Governor Lee's spokesperson for character education. So each visit that I leave, I feel more and more confident. And then just that year competing at Miss Tennessee Volunteer, the amount of work that all local girls have to put in, it's just so rewarding being able to be on stage. And that truly is where my confidence comes from on stage, is just knowing the amount of hard work that I put in, and it's all paying off, whether I came home with the title or came home in last place. Just very proud of myself because it does take a lot of hard work and dedication, and that's just where all the confidence comes from.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to you on that because I think a lot of people just see us on the stage and think, wow, they must be really confident
So nice.
already. Even though we've probably
Like,
done that
oh,
routine like 100 times before we got there.
100. Like little do they know the amount of work that we all had to put in to just get and walk on stage. But yeah, it's fine. It's all worth it for sure too.
So, throughout this journey of pageantry that you've had since you've been doing it
Mhm.
almost your entire life, have there been any specific times or a moment you can think of in your pageant journey where you actually doubted yourself?
Yeah. So what some people might not know, it was actually my fourth year competing for Miss Tennessee Volunteer, and that fourth year is when I took home the title of Miss Tennessee Volunteer. And every year, I knew this was the biggest dream I ever had, but leaving without the crown, I would say that I did have a lot of self doubt, but I also knew that I trusted in God's perfect timing and knew that He was preparing me for whatever reason, or whatever year that becoming Miss Tennessee Volunteer would be. And even if I never became Miss Tennessee Volunteer, I knew that that was in God's perfect timing. But I love to share the story of a little bit about how I felt after I won the title of Miss Tennessee Volunteer, because I feel like it's not talked about enough. And although it was my biggest dream ever, becoming Miss Tennessee Volunteer, I'll never forget when I got back into my hotel room after I had won, and the amount of emotions that I felt. I was extremely excited, extremely in shock, and can't believe it actually happened. But a lot of self doubt was in my head as well, because I was like, whoa, like my whole life just literally flipped upside down. And I was like, am I capable of having this title, even though I have worked my whole entire life of being a Miss Volunteer? So the beginning of my reign, I struggled with a lot of mentality at the beginning of my year, of really doubting my self-worth and wondering if I was able to do the job. But I have an amazing board of directors that push me every single day, and an amazing family, amazing twin sister that supports me every single day in my journey. And so 6 months into my reign, like halfway over, which is absolutely crazy, I truly have gained so much confidence just in this year of proving myself that I can be Miss Tennessee Volunteer. And I'm really just proud of all the things I've been able to accomplish this year as well.
I was going to say, I have been personally inspired by your perseverance and your journey to Miss Tennessee, watching you do it multiple times and still come back with perseverance and ultimately get that title is really inspiring to watch. Um,
Well, thank you.
and
So special.
I've loved watching your year. It's so fun, especially when you do get close to the girls and you spend so much time with
Yeah.
them, and then watch them spend the whole year. It's really awesome.
It's so amazing. The past 4 years I've been competing, watching the Miss Tennessee Volunteer that would win that year, it really is just so amazing just to see, because even at local levels, we see how hard it takes to even be a local title holder, and then truly see it through a state title holder and even a national title holder as well is really amazing and inspiring to watch.
Do you think that confidence is something that people are naturally born with, or do you think it's something that has to be built on over time?
I think it definitely has to be built on over time. Obviously, you can be born with confidence, but the life experiences that you have truly are going to shape you into the person that you are today. I know for me personally, like I mentioned in my pageant journey, I started pageantry because I didn't have any self confidence at all. So it really is just amazing just to see the transformation that I've had since I've been 6 years old. And like I mentioned earlier as well, even through this past year, the amount of confidence I have had, it's truly been just amazing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think confidence is one of those things that is just, it's a constant building block. We never stop
It,
growing that. So, pageantry is often criticized for being kind of subjective. So,
yeah.
how do you protect your own self worth, especially in spaces where it does seem like we are consistently being judged or evaluated?
Yes, it can definitely be tough at times. And I think it's important for everyone that decides to compete in pageants, whether it's your first year or if you're like me and you competed your whole entire life in pageantry, that you need to have the mindset of every single day, every single pageant you do, different set of judges, a different kind of outcome. And so don't let the outcome of that year determine your self-worth and the amount of hard work that you have put in. If it was a totally different panel this past year of Miss Tennessee Volunteer, I might not be here in this position, and the roles could be reversed. So I think it's just very important to have that mindset going in. don't ever let the outcome of pageantry determine your self-worth and the reflection of all of your hard work, because again, in God's perfect timing, it's going to happen. And so just go in with that mindset that just compete in pageantry because you want to have fun and gain self-confidence. Don't always be just going for the crown, although that is the fun thing that everyone wants to obviously get, but just always kind of have that in the back of your head.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's pageantry is one of those things that you want to do it for what you want out of it and what you can gain from it instead of going for the title, because it very much is at the end of the day somebody's opinion, and that
It,
you should can't take it to heart at the end of the day.
you cannot. It's all in God's perfect timing.
So how do you, I know you're very busy, how do you separate Meghan, which is your personal identity, from the title of Miss Tennessee Volunteer?
Yeah, and that's kind of a tough question for me. Obviously, growing up in pageantry, every single day I have worked towards being a Miss Tennessee Volunteer. But honestly, this past year it has proven a lot to me, and I know come July I will be passing on the title to someone else, and my real life will begin as just Meghan Poore. And so this past year, I've really been preparing myself for what July will look like, and not just being realistic with my future plans. And so, for me personally, I can't wait to jump into the field of creating my career, and I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to see what the future holds, and I know it's going to be very tough because this title I'll no longer have Miss Tennessee Volunteer, and Miss Volunteer America is my last pageant, so it's like my grand finale. And I know this summer it's going to be very, very bittersweet, but I'm also so excited to see what the future holds for just Meghan. I definitely think I'll always be involved in pageantry somehow, whether that's directing, I'll be doing hair and makeup, I'm sure, somewhere. But yeah, I really am excited to see what the real life of Meghan will be. And I can't wait to see just what the future holds with that.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to. I remember last year when I won a national title for twirling, and when I
Yeah.
gave it up, I remember my drive home I felt kind of like empty is the wrong word, but I was like, wow, I spent that whole year doing that, and I kind of feel like I lost a bit of myself there. Um, but just kind of reminding yourself that there was a whole person there before that title.
100%. There's a life before pageantry, and there's going to be a life after pageantry, and we're all going to make it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But I can feel you on that. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, you are the governor's official spokesperson for
Yeah.
character education. You chose the trait respect. So, what does respect look like for a young woman today, and what does it mean for you personally?
Respect means everything to me. And when I was chosen Miss Tennessee Volunteer and it came time to choose a character trait, I knew without a doubt that respect is what I wanted to reflect my year on. And growing up, my mom always told me to respect everyone because you never know what someone is going through. And I feel like in this generation and in this time that respect is lacked in our society in many different ways. And someone as me, growing up with the mindset of treating everyone with respect because you never know what someone is going through, I love to share my story. What a lot of people don't know. Whenever I was 6 years old, I lost my father very unexpectedly. And then in the year 2021, I lost both of my grandparents exactly 1 month apart to the day. And through all of the loss and the tragedy, I hid those emotions. Whenever I was in first grade, I was really embarrassed and ashamed to talk about that I lost my father, because it wasn't something that you would go to school and you would hear your friends in first grade talk about how they lost a parent. So I became very ashamed and embarrassed to talk about that. And again, I felt those emotions again in 2021 when both of my grandparents tragically passed away 1 month apart to the day. And I was in college during that time, and I felt all of those emotions circle back, and I didn't really know how to cope with that. And again, I hid those emotions. And so my biggest piece of advice is you never know what someone is going through, and when someone is struggling on the inside. And I feel like too, as pageant girls feel like they have to be the most perfect person all the time and can never have a bad day. And that's not the case at all. There's been many days as Miss Tennessee Volunteer that I have struggled deep down, but I think it's just important to know your self-worth and to know that these hard times are not going to last forever. And for me personally, what's so empowering is that I've been able to create my personal platform, The Gift of Time, and to share it across the whole entire state, and partner with huge organizations like the National Foundation of Grieving Children. So that's just been so empowering in my pageant journey, and being able to share my story and truly connect with so many children across the state. It's been so eye-opening. It's just so amazing to see.
Well, it's lovely to hear that you have turned something that could be tragedy into something beautiful and turn it into service and something that you can give back to. It's really inspiring. Okay, so talking a little bit more about your platform and grief a little bit. For young women who may feel alone right now in their grief, what would you tell
Mm-hmm.
them to lift their spirits today?
I always tell them that hard times and hard days are not going to last forever. And I think with grief, I'm sure most people realize that some days you're going to be really upset. You're going to be struggling really bad. And there's days that, although I lost my father almost 20 years ago, there are still days where it hits me 10 times harder than others. February is always a tough month for me. That was his birth month, and also the month that he passed away too. So every single year I always feel February being so heavy. But also there's good days too, and there's good moments where I know that he's always watching down on me. And that's just the biggest motivation in itself. But I would just tell that person that these hard days are not going to last forever, and it's okay to feel those emotions. Again, I like to always hide those emotions, but I had to really let myself know that it's okay to feel these emotions, because that really is what's going to help you in the long run, to let yourself have those hard days. If you need to stay in bed all day and talk to your family, that's okay. But do what makes you happy, and just know that these hard days are not going to last forever, and it's okay to not always be okay.
And so how did you take something really personal and something that was probably really hurtful at one time and turn that into purpose, and what made you kind of want to turn it into a platform?
I think about the time of when I was enrolling in the Volunteer America organization. It was shortly after I lost my grandparents in 2021. That was the year I joined the Miss Volunteer America organization. And I think it's so special that all girls get to choose a personal serve initiative, because it truly, you have no limits. You can do whatever you want to talk about, whatever organization you want to promote. And I think that's so inspiring and so empowering. But when it came during that time, I remember, what is the message that I want everyone to relate to, and what I want to be so passionate about, where I want to wake up every single day and share my story, and share that message. And that's when I created the gift of time. And I think it's just so empowering to wake up every day and have a message that every single person can relate to. I truly believe that time really is a gift, and it really is a message that everyone can relate to, whether you've lost a parent or you haven't lost anyone. Unfortunately.
Shifting a little bit to empowerment and a little bit more about your leadership, what does empowerment
Mm-hmm.
mean to you as Miss Tennessee volunteer, and how have you empowered young girls throughout your year so far?
Empowerment is so amazing, especially that in our STERB acronym, empowerment is one of our letters. So I think all volunteer girls can truly relate to empowerment. But for me, it really is sharing my story of how I became a volunteer and all the dedication that it took. The amount of little girls that have come up to me and has said that your story is so inspiring. And I've actually met little girls at prelims that come up to me and say, I haven't given up because I know that you didn't give up. And that just melts my heart, and it makes me feel so empowered to be a leader in the state of Tennessee, and to really encourage these little girls that it's okay if you don't win on your first try. Keep going, because if you want it hard, if you want it bad enough, you're going to make that happen. So that really has been just so amazing and so inspiring to see, and just really one of the most empowering moments throughout my year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely relate that sometimes the most impactful moments in our service or with our platform is sometimes the small little things of someone just saying, like, oh, that really made an impact on me. And it's something so small that you would think, like, oh, the big initiative is what impacts me the most, but it's those little comments that just make the world and make your day.
And definitely keep you going. Yes.
And so, with that, what is something that you wish more young girls understood or believed about themselves?
I wish that everyone would always know, if you have a dream, no dream is ever too big for you to accomplish. And I wish I could go back and tell my 6-year-old self that went to watch Miss Tennessee every single summer at the Carl Perkins Civic Center, that you can do that one day, because obviously it has happened. But even I look back whenever I was 6 years old and 10 years old, Never in a million years did I think that would happen. But I also look at myself, my very first year competing for Miss Tennessee Volunteer. And I remember always telling myself, wouldn't that be nice if that could ever happen one day? And here I am 4 years later that I am now Miss Tennessee Volunteer, and that dream became a reality because of the dedication and the hard work that I had to accomplish that dream. In my head, every single year I'd leave Miss Tennessee Volunteer. The dream got bigger and bigger in my head, and I would do whatever it would take to accomplish that goal. And 4 years later, I'm just so beyond thankful to have this title, and truly am not taking a single day for granted. So I would just definitely let them know that no dream is too big, and just go for it, because you never know what could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my coaches always used to tell me, I remember growing up, they used to always use that analogy that's like, shoot for the moon and you land among the stars. And I always thought that was such like a silly thing to really dream outside the box, but it's really not, because when you put your
No.
head in that mindset, it really becomes an actionable goal that you can really attack and go after. So at Rise and Reclaim, our mission is to empower, educate, and elevate young women, especially in how they see themselves in their relationships. And so,
Mhm.
in your role as a mentor and a leader as Miss Tennessee Volunteer, how do you think that empowerment and education work together to help elevate young women?
Education and empowerment really is so amazing, and it's really relatable to my family. I love to share the story. My mom always told my twin sister and I she wanted us to go to college and get an education, because that is one thing nobody can take away from you. And for her, it was empowering being a single mother, her pretty much our whole entire life. That was the one goal she wanted us to accomplish, was having those college degrees and having an education. And my twin sister and I have been able to graduate from college. I've graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing, and my sister's actually been able to get her master's in education. And it's so rewarding, and know my mom feels so empowered that she was able to accomplish that as a single mom, putting two girls through college and get her master's, and for me, get my cosmetology license, even pass my degree. So education is so important. It really is so empowering to so many people as well.
Mm-hmm. I relate. As a first generation college student, it means so much to do that. It's kind of like a win for your whole family because you're just doing.
It really is. And everyone always told me, because everyone always knew my biggest dream was to be a cosmetology student. Everyone always say, just go straight to cosmetology school. You don't need your degree. And I was like, I know, but it's always a little bit deeper than that. It's more of a family thing. And if this is what my mom wants, if the one thing she has asked for me is to get my college degree, then I'm going to do that and make her happy. And she is right. No one can ever take your education away. And I am beyond thankful for my marketing degree, and I've been able to put that to use, even as being a Tennessee Volunteer. Social media is huge, marketing is huge, so it really has just been a really big blessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, kind of finishing up, if there is a young woman listening right now who might not have the confidence in herself and doesn't believe she can do anything or is feeling maybe unworthy, what advice would you give her?
I've been in a few podcasts this week and a few lives, and I have said this answer every single time, but it really is so true. Just to go for it. You're going to gain so much confidence just by doing one little local prelim. You might not think there is anything to come out, but I'll never forget, after I competed in my first prelim back in 2021, I did not have much confidence. I was absolutely terrified of if I would go on stage, forget all of my lyrics in my song, if I would black out on swimsuit, evening gown, on stage question, couldn't answer the question. The amount of empowerment that I felt after I competed in my first prelim, knowing that, hey, I just did that. I never in a million years thought I could compete on a stage, and compete in a local preliminary for Miss Tennessee Volunteer, but I did do that. So I would tell them just to go for it. There is seriously nothing to lose. You're going to gain some pretty amazing friends. I'm sure we can all testify to that. Pageantry, as cheesy as it sounds, I have met some of my very best friends competing in pageantry, and it's really been so amazing. You also could potentially earn some extra scholarship dollars, which is amazing to earn. So just go for it. There is nothing to lose, and you are going to feel like a brand new person and have so much more self-confidence in yourself after you just go for it and just do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember my first prelim. I like remember begging my mom, like, "You're someone's gonna have to drag me on the stage to do like
Yeah.
this fitness." I was like, I cannot do this in front of people.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
once
so scary.
Once I did
The
it, I was like, wow, now I feel like I can do anything.
Seriously, I know, because the very first time I did, I remember waking up and I was like, I do not know how today is going to go. I don't know if I'm going to back out during the day. I just don't know how this is going to work. And then after that first one, I was like, okay, let's go. Like every weekend, I was competing in a prelim, and after every single one, I just gained more and more confidence. So, yeah, it's definitely very fun.
Yeah, and pageantry is definitely I can relate in the fact that I thought before pageantry, like I will be very honest, I thought pageant girls are definitely catty and they keep to themselves,
Uh,
but now joining this organization, it really like pageantry is truly the definition of girlhood. Like everybody is there for you, everybody's hyping you up. It is such an amazing
Especially
week.
Volunteer Week, girls, if you're listening, and if you're a first timer, that is all you have during Miss Tennessee Volunteer Week are your competitors. And we really do just have each other's back. And it really is just amazing and empowering to see during Miss Tennessee Volunteer Week. How that really is all we have. And it is the definition of girlhood. It really is just so amazing because they're going to be the ones that for you when you're having a bad day, you need a shoulder to cry on. They will be there for you. They'll be zipping up your dress. They'll be helping you curl your hair, put on your eyelashes. Yeah, it really is. I love that you said that because that is so true. It's the definition of girlhood. Pageantry is.
Okay, so for our last question, as I mentioned earlier, Rise and Reclaim is built on our three words educate, elevate, and empower. So, which one of those three words resonates most with you in this season of your life and why?
Empowerment. I feel like it's not a hard guess. In this season of life, being Miss Tennessee Volunteer has empowered me in so many ways. Like I mentioned, I started my year in July with a lot of self doubt and didn't know if I was worthy of having this title, if I was able to be the best Miss Tennessee Volunteer that I can be. And now, 6 months later, I truly feel so empowered going into my second half of my reign as Miss Tennessee Volunteer, as I'm now preparing for the national pageant come June that will be here before we know it. Yeah, so definitely in the season of life, empowerment means the most of me, means the most to me, and will continue to mean a lot to me in the next couple of years as I start my career, having my own business, and wrapping up my pageant journey as well.
Yeah, empowerment is my favorite one too, so I can relate. Well, Megan, thank you so much for being our very first guest on the Her Power podcast. Your heart for service, your message of respect, and the way that you have turned your loss into purpose is truly inspiring. And I know so many women listening will walk away feeling even more confident and encouraged because of your message. And at Rise and Reclaim, our mission again is to empower, educate, and elevate women. And today's conversation reflected exactly that. We are excited to cheer you on as you prepare for Miss Volunteer America this June in Jackson, and we will definitely be rooting for you. And to everyone listening, just remember that your power isn't defined by a title or anyone's opinion, it's already within you. So thank you so much, Megan, for coming on. I love talking to you and learning just a little bit more about you. And yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Sydney. I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see your journey to Jackson in July.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody for listening for the very first episode of the Her Power podcast. Remember, keep rising, keep reclaiming, and we will see you next time on Her Power.